Reform are not just moving the goalposts, they've sold the stadium and now they're claiming they never liked football in the first place. You're watching a masterclass in political gaslighting that treats the voter like goldfish. But the real tragedy of Laila Cunningham is that she's playing a game where the rules change every time Nigel Farage opens his mouth. She spends her week drawing red lines in the sand, only Farage to turn up with a leaf blower. She says, "No Jenrick," and he says, "Welcome aboard," and she's left scrambling to pretend it was her idea all along. Now, well, she's rolling out the red carpet for the very men she accused of lighting the fires. It's a desperate grab for legitimacy that exposes a hollow core where the backbone should be. And the excuse she gives for this U-turn isn't just weak, it's an insult to your intelligence. So, yet again, GB News has surprised me. I'm guessing that's because Camilla Tominey also works for the Tory graph, and so she's not bound by the same propaganda rules that some of her GB News colleagues have. And so, yes, she is free to make Laila Cunningham look like a fool. We have to start with the moment the trap snaps shut. Cunningham tries to open with some fluff about new sheriffs, but Camilla Tominey isn't interested in catchphrases. She's interested in receipts. Watch how she physically stops the interview to force Cunningham to listen to her own words from just a few days ago.
Hang on, because you and I spoke, didn't we? You came on the Daily Tea, we spoke at the Telegraph, we did a big interview, and you said that you wouldn't welcome Robert Jenrick into the party. You said, and I quote, "I don't feel that the Conservatives have atoned for their sins. I'm actually quite sick and tired of them going up there and calling out all these problems that they caused and offering solutions." You also said that migrant hotels reached their peak under Robert Jenrick as immigration minister. Do you know what? You're not wrong. The peak occurred in September 2023. He was immigration minister from 2022 to December 2023.
And the assessment of the Tories hasn't changed. But what matters is when the Tories cling to that failure or whether Tories break away from it. And last week, when I did say that to you, he was defending a failed Tory government. Today, he's left it and he eviscerated it, acknowledging... Well, he did, and what really stuck with me was when he said that they are so complicit, they are so compromised that they no longer speak. They no longer can speak for the British people.
You see that on Cunningham's face? That is the look of someone realising they've not cleared their browser history. Tominey reminds her, you didn't just dislike these people, you were sick and tired of them. You called them sinners who undertoned. Most politicians would probably try and pivot here, trying to move off the subject, but Cunningham tries to claim that Robert Jenrick has eviscerated his old party, so now he's a hero. But Tominey destroys that logic with a simple maths lesson.
Hang on a minute, Laila. You can accept that the system's failed in the Conservative Party. The point is that Robert Jenrick served under 5, let's count them 5, Tory governments. Even when he's sacked by Boris Johnson, he goes back for more. And now he's saying that the problems that his governments that he served in are somebody else's fault. Why did he go back and serve under Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak if the Conservatives were doing so badly? I make this point because the public, the GB News audience, can sort of see this chicanery, right? They look at it and they go, hang on a minute, this guy's rewriting history. Why can't Nigel Farage see that?
Well, I think what Nigel Farage sees, and we all, we trust Nigel Farage's judgment, is him leaving, Jenrick leaving the Conservatives. It really signals that they're finished. And frankly, as you say, their record was horrific, and them being finished is good for the country.
Let's count them. That was brutal. Tominey exposes the core lie. Jenrick isn't a bystander. He was the architect. He was there for May, Johnson, Truss, Sunak. He didn't just watch the house burn down. He was the one holding the matches. And then she delivers the line of the interview. This is the moment that she strips away the national interest excuse and reveals the absurdity of the whole situation.
Well, so you're complicit until you decide you're not complicit. My argument is this. There's a contradiction at the heart of this premise. On one hand, you've got Nigel Farage and reformers like you saying the Tories failed in government. They failed to govern. And then in the next breath, you're saying, we're going to take on the Tories that failed to govern and failed in government to help us to govern because we don't know how to govern.
That's it. That is the reform strategy in a nutshell. You are a traitor to the country right up until the moment you put on a turquoise tie and then you are a patriot. It's the Groucho Marx doctrine. Those are my principles, and if you don't like them, well, I have others. I mean, she pretty much says it right here.
Yes, I've been very strong on my convictions because I've always believed in them. But, people can change their minds. People can change their convictions. It doesn't mean that they don't have them.
Tominey then twists the knife one last time with the only analogy that matters.
That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to take Tories who are complicit in broken Britain and then expect them to change and fix it for reform. You're basically getting the arsonists to put out the fire.
Well, I wouldn't say that's right. Well, it takes courage. It really does take courage to leave the Conservative Party and give the speech that he did. He didn't hedge. He didn't sugarcoat anything. I mean, he stood up and he eviscerated them. He said the truth about a party that's failed the country so abysmally.
Yes.
And that takes courage, and to admit you are part of the failure, it takes even more courage. And to walk away from it publicly takes courage. Listen, we're not a refuge for career politicians or failed. We're a place for people who finally accept that the Tories failed and want to really help change it.
But the Tories accept that the Tories failed. If he had courage, you could argue he could have stayed in the Conservatives and tried to fix his own mess.
You see, Cunningham's struggling. She talks about courage, she talks about patriotism, but the logic has gone. She's defending the indefensible. But here is a knockout punch. If you think Cunningham is just being pragmatic, if you think she truly believes that Jenrick has changed, you have to look at the clip from the Daily Tea interview. That proves her welcome of Jenrick isn't just a U-turn, it's a direct contradiction of everything that she believes.
Would you like to see Rob Jenrick join the party?
Why? Because we're talking about women?
No, you don't want Rob Jenrick.
No.
Hang on.
Right.
I think Nigel Farage wouldn't mind Rob Jenrick.
I mean, this is my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Why not?
It was under him that the hotel migrant situation flourished. We had peak amount of hotels. I don't feel that the Conservatives have atoned for their sins.
Oh.
I'm actually quite sick and tired of them going up there and calling out all these problems that they caused. I think we need a fresh look on the country, that's all.
You don't want Rob Jenrick. She said it. She meant it. But Farage wants him. And the reason she's sitting there now, swallowing her pride, getting punched in the face yet again, and defending him, well, it's not principle, it's submission. Tominey exposed her as a politician who will say anything, support anyone, and rewrite any history, as long as the boss is happy.
My message to you is clear, plain, and simple. Never trust a Tory. Did you get that? I'll repeat it. Never trust a Tory. They will always let you down. They will always betray you.